This is how I test clipper blades after I've sharpened them and I reassembled them. It's important to test them and check the tension. So I'll be demonstrating the blade scale on how to check the tension, how to adjust the tension if it's not correct, and what processes I go through in testing to see if these blades actually cut. So I've assembled these 4 blades. This one I'm going to leave to my next video, and then I also have a 5-in-1, but we'll talk about that in another video. Let me show you how I check the tension. And I've oiled them all. I've put them together. I'm going to double check and make sure that they're adjusted to the right distance back. The setback is correct. Setback should be about 0.035. So my first thing I'm going to do is check the tension. I'm laying my blade against a block, and this is the blade scale. I want it between 2 3/4 pounds and 3 1/4. If it gets beyond 2 1/2 or 3 1/2, it's not going to work well. You don't want it too tight, not too loose. Now I adjusted the socket and the spring before I even sharpened the blades. I always tighten it. And this is way too tight. So that one I'm going to need to loosen. There's several ways of doing it. The easiest way is I've just got like a large flat screwdriver. I lay my hand here. I'm putting the screwdriver in there, that spring right there. Can you see where I'm putting it? And I'm going to twist it to loosen up that spring. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? Maybe I can do it left-handed, you think? There we go. That's an awkward position for me and my little weak hands, but you can see what's going on. So I'm going to turn it around this way. And I'm actually, you can see that lift up as I do it. Do you see that lift up? Now, let's check the tension. That's in the yellow. And you want to check both sides because sometimes you might have the spring might be adjusted a little different on the other side. And that was in the yellow. I'm going to loosen up a little bit more. A little bit more. Right at the verge of between the green and the yellow. Oh, that was right in the green. So I'm going to stay with that one. These have already been oiled. You want to make sure you oil them before you do that. So let me check these other ones real quick, and we'll zoom through these a little bit faster. Too tight. I should have known, because I was the last one to sharpen these, that these would be probably already adjusted correctly. Right down the yellow, a little bit on the tight side, but yellow. Now I'll go with that. Too tight. It's easier to make them too tight and then loosen them than to have them too loose and you have to take them apart and tighten it, because I'm sure there's a way to tighten that spring without taking them apart, but if there is, I don't know. If you know how to tighten the spring without taking them apart, please put that in the comments below. Oh, perfect. And last one. Too tight. Yeah, it's right on the border. Sorry, as bad as the other ones. Now, I did not do the block test on these, the rub block. I do the rub block if I find I'm having some that aren't passing my other test, and having to take them apart and resharpen them at that point. I would do the rub block. So I have two things, really I've got three things I test them on. But for these type of blades, I'm using, this is fake fur, and I've got it in a roll, and I've also got the cotton string. And I have an Oster 76. Even though these are Andes blades, I like using the Oster because sometimes a blade will work on an Andes, but not on the Oster, and more likely than vice versa. And I like to test the larger blades first. I mean understand that on groomers and stylists and barbers it's different. So on these, the lower the number, the wider this tooth is. I'm going to do the lower numbers first. It saves me on testing material. So you want to turn your clipper on first. Pop it in. Make sure it sounds good. Do the string test. And the factory, this is how they cut the blades. They cut through 3 places. That cuts well. And then that digs a little bit. It cuts, but not perfect. See that? Let's try this one. See if this one's better. One, two, three. That's nice. Tough, but it doesn't glide through. I'd like to see it just glide through. Sometimes it's dander between the teeth. Give it a good brushing. And maybe even a blowing out. See if that makes a difference. That helps some, but it's still getting caught in the teeth as it glides through. Let's see how these cut. A little bit of rattle. I might need a new blade drive. These cut better. These cut the best. And if you notice, you can look at the blades and tell that's the newest one. So these other ones have been sharpened a few times. So that's how I test clipper blades.